If you want to succeed in life, you need to master the art of communication. Whether you want to make new friends, impress your boss, or find your soulmate, you need to know how to talk to anyone with confidence and charisma. But how can you do that if you feel shy, awkward, or nervous in social situations? How can you overcome your fears and make a great first impression? How can you create instant rapport and build lasting relationships with people from all walks of life? That's what this book summary is all about. In this video, I will summarize the main ideas and tips from the book How to Talk to Anyone by Leah Lowndes, a communications expert and best-selling author. This book is a collection of practical techniques that will help you improve your social skills and become a master conversationalist. The book is divided into 3 parts, each covering a different aspect of communication. Part 1, Nonverbal Signals, Make a Positive First Impression. Part 2, Verbal Signals, Create Instant Rapport. Part 3, Verbal Signals, Encourage Meaningful Conversations. Let's dive into each part and see how you can apply these techniques in your own life. Part 1, Nonverbal Signals, Make a Positive First Impression. The first part of the book focuses on how to use your body language, facial expressions, and voice to make yourself more likable and approachable. Here are some of the key techniques from this part. Technique number 1, the flooding smile. Don't flash a fake smile as soon as you see someone. Instead, wait until you make eye contact and then let a big, warm, genuine smile flood over your face. This will show that you are happy to see them and that your smile is reserved for them. Technique number 2, sticky eyes. Don't break eye contact too soon or too often when talking to someone. Instead, pretend that your eyes are glued to theirs and linger for an extra second before looking away. This will show that you are interested and attentive. Technique number 3, Epoxy Eyes. When talking to a group of people, don't just focus on the person who is speaking. Instead, glance at the other listeners from time to time and acknowledge their reactions. This will show that you are inclusive and respectful of everyone's opinions. Technique number 4, the big baby pivot. When someone approaches you or joins your conversation, don't just turn your head or shoulders towards them. Instead, turn your whole body towards them and give them your full attention. This will show that you are welcoming and enthusiastic. Technique number 5, hello old friend. When meeting someone for the first time, don't act like a stranger. Instead, act like you are greeting an old friend that you haven't seen in a long time. This will create a sense of familiarity and warmth. Technique number 6, limit the fidget. When talking to someone, don't fidget with your hands, hair, clothes, or objects. Instead, keep your hands still and relaxed at your sides or on the table. This will show that you are calm and confident. Technique number 7, hang by your teeth. When standing or walking, don't slouch or hunch your shoulders. Instead, imagine that you are hanging by your teeth from a string attached to the ceiling. This will improve your posture and make you look taller and more powerful. Technique number 8, the proper handshake. When shaking hands with someone, don't squeeze too hard or too soft. Instead, match the pressure of the other person's hand and hold it for 2 or 3 seconds. This will show that you are friendly and respectful. Technique number 9, the palm power handshake. When shaking hands with someone who is more powerful or influential than you, don't put your hand on top or below theirs. Instead, offer your hand vertically with your palm facing sideways. This will show that you are equal and confident. Technique number 10, compliment their name. When someone introduces themselves to you, don't just repeat their name or say nice to meet you. Instead, compliment their name by saying something like that's a beautiful name or I love that name. This will show that you are attentive and appreciative. Part 2, Verbal Signals, Create Instant Rapport. The second part of the book focuses on how to use your words, tone, and humor to start a conversation and make a connection with anyone. Here are some of the key techniques from this part. Technique number 11, Parroting. When someone says something that you don't know how to respond to or that you want to keep the conversation going, don't just nod or say aha. Instead, repeat the last few words of what they said in a questioning tone. This will show that you are listening and curious. Technique number 12, encouragers. When someone is telling you a story or sharing their opinion, don't just say really or wow. Instead, use words that encourage them to continue, such as tell me more or how did you feel. This will show that you are interested and supportive. Technique number 13, quizzing. When someone tells you something that you already know or that you want to verify, don't just say I know or that's right. Instead, ask them a question that shows your knowledge or curiosity, such as how did you find out, or what do you think about that? This will show that you are smart and engaged. Technique number 14, echoing. When someone uses a word or phrase that is unusual or specific, don't just ignore it or use a different word. Instead, echo their word or phrase back to them in your response. This will show that you are attentive and respectful of their language. Technique number 15, the Swiveling Spotlight. When someone compliments you or asks you a question about yourself, don't just accept it or answer it. Instead, turn the spotlight back to them by saying something like thank you, that's very kind of you to say. What about you? Or I'm doing well, thank you for asking. How are you? This will show that you are humble and interested in them. Technique number 16, the Boomerang. When someone asks you a question that is too personal or inappropriate, don't just answer it or avoid it. Instead, boomerang it back to them by saying something like why do you ask, or what do you think? This will show that you are assertive and in control of the conversation. Technique number 17, the broken record. When someone tries to change the subject or end the conversation before you are ready, don't just let them go or follow their lead. Instead, repeat your point or question until they acknowledge it or answer it. This will show that you are persistent and determined. Technique number 18, the nutshell. When someone asks you to tell them about yourself or your work, don't just ramble on or give a vague answer. Instead, summarize your main points in a few sentences and then ask them a question. This will show that you are concise and curious. Technique number 19, the killer compliment. When someone does something that impresses you or that you admire, don't just say good job or well done. Instead, give them a specific and sincere compliment that shows your appreciation and respect. For example, you handled that situation very professionally or you have a great sense of humor. Technique number 20, the Premature We. When talking to someone that you want to get closer to or build trust with, don't just use I or you. Instead, use we or us to create a sense of unity and belonging. For example, we have a lot in common or how do we feel about this? These are some of the techniques from the book How to Talk to Anyone by Leo Lowndes that will help you communicate better with anyone in any situation. By applying these techniques, you will be able to make a positive first impression and create instant rapport with anyone you meet. Thank you for watching the first video of this book summary. Please watch the next video for part 3 of this book. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more book summaries to improve your relationships. See you at the next video.